Not my dresses. Make that clear right off the bat. And I don't know if we need to be that elevated. Let's get everything situated here. Okay. A little bit better. Chair can always come up. Desk can come around. All right, we're getting there. Piece by piece, we are getting there. Comment section open. Just try to get organized, make sure we can see this thing. Cancel that. All right. All right. Boom. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming. Week 7 NFL rundown. Lots to get to. 7 picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One of which is for the baseball game tonight. A reminder, like usual, we are live again later today. Right here, same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. Shouldn't be saying that about YouTube time, obviously. Let me move the dome a bit here. Because YouTube time, moving past it. Washington, Dallas analysis. Not playing, you know what, right out of the gate. Love the question. Let's get right into it. Not playing that game. If I was going to play it, I was looking to Washington. Big line move in that game this week. Look ahead line, Dallas was as high as -3. So last week when the line came out on that game, Cowboys were a 3-point favorite. Then Dalton and the Cowboys just absolutely stunk on Monday Night Football, and now they're going to play Washington. It moved all the way to Pick'em, and now it moved through. Washington currently a 1-point favorite. I see them at 1.5 at some places. So the money, the action's been on Washington. There's no value here now. I mean, the Redskins have been lousy, but shockingly, I guess they're better coached than Dallas. If I was going to play, I'd be playing Washington. Sharp's moving the line. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't think the public wants to get involved with Washington. So later today, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. I guess you'll get notifications. We're moving the stream from Periscope, Twitter, over YouTube. Oddshark and I have been talking about it for a while. Oddshark wanted me to wear this dress. I was like, I will not wear a dress, but I will go to YouTube. That's a joke. I'm in my closet. I told y'all, now that you got to look at the lifestyle, it's not as glamorous as it first came across. I'm kidding. I'm a very fortunate individual. Recap, or just, again, as I continue to sidetrack myself, we're going to be live again at the conclusion of the last afternoon game to preview Seattle, Arizona. So that's one game on today's card. 12 games today. One game we're not talking about, Seattle, Arizona. We will do that at the conclusion of the last afternoon game. Today we have 1, 2, 3 afternoon games, it looks like. 4, actually. Tampa and Vegas got moved up to the afternoon. Patriots, Niners, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Broncos, and then Jacksonville and the Chargers. That is a nice afternoon slate. Woo, pace yourselves with the alcohol today, everyone. Pace yourselves. Woo. Okay. Let's make sure everything's going well in the world of Twitter. I believe it is. People asking questions. Let's go ahead and just make sure everything's accurate, and then we can really jump into this thing. Okay. So here's where we're living. The recap. On Thursday, the last time we did this stream, we gave out 5 picks. 2 of them were in the Eagles game. Both of those were losers. We had the Eagles, and we had Deshaun Jackson over receiving yards. Jackson had 19 yards right out of the gate. I think he only needed like 36.5. We didn't hit this number. Like right out of the gate, that thing was trending exactly where we wanted it to trend, and we ended up missing. The Eagles not winning. Well, you bet on bad teams, and guess what? A lot of times they play bad football. That's what we got in that game. So Eagles and Deshaun Jackson, those were the losers. Appalachian State, Arkansas State under, winner. Los Angeles Dodgers on the run line, which closed plus 120. That was for Friday night. Winner. And then one college game we gave out for Saturday. We had to backdoor it, but Iowa State plus 3.5 got home. Winner. 3-2 on Thursday night, 53-52 on the year. We were in a huge hole. Still down because of the juice, but 53-52 on the season. You know about the Sunday night stream. We'll jump on and we'll talk Cardinals Seahawks later as soon as the last afternoon game completes. I'll send out the tweet. You can go there and it'll drive you right to this stream, or you can just subscribe here on YouTube and go from there. Niners plus 3. Okay, thanks for asking about that. That's one of the picks that's coming up. We are talking about that game in just a bit. Pigeons. Those of you who are new to this is the closet of my bedroom. There are windows in this closet, which is still bizarre to me. I can see pigeons flying on the roof. I hate the pigeons. It cost me $2,000 to get the pigeons out of there. They were nesting underneath the solar panels. Previous owners. Shape up, huh? All right. Interesting day today. One little nugget of what I'm paying attention to. Road dogs. A lot of teams laying points on the road today. Significant amount of teams laying points on the road today. So far this season, I think teams laying points on the road, 15-14 against the spread. Not the end of the world, 15-14. Usually you'd think the home dogs would do a little bit better, but so far this year, teams laying points on the road, 15-14 against the spread. We've had 91 NFL games entering week 7, 91. Each week, and this includes Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, we have an average of about 4.6 games that feature a road team laying points. This week, just today, there are 12 games today. 6 of those games feature road teams laying points. Cleveland's laying at Cincy, the Packers are laying at Houston, and on down the list. Just something to keep in mind as we move forward. Weather today. First weather report of the year. Snow in Denver. Friend of mine from high school, I saw her Instagram this morning. She lives just outside Denver, but snow all over the place. Snowing in Utah as well. They're expecting snow in Denver for the game against Kansas City. Now, a lot of people immediately think that means an under. Let's go to that total right now because that's not a game we're picking today. We have seen some movement in that direction. 49.5 was the total. It's down to 44. Remember something. The number one factor with weather that you concern yourself with is wind. Wind wreaks more havoc than anything else. Can't see wind. You can see rain. You can see snow. So people assume that those two are the worst. They can have an effect. I remember an Eagles game against the Lions in Philadelphia where there was like a foot and a half of snow on the ground. It was a blizzard. They could not clear it. That game was a smash under in which LaShawn McCoy, I want to say, had a big day. But no one could move the ball in that game, and you certainly couldn't throw. They just wanted to get the hell out of there. Conversely, there was a game where Brady and the Patriots played Tennessee in a blizzard, and I think the Patriots won like 49-0. Just had no problem putting points on the board. I want to say that was back in 2008, would be my guess. Actually, 2009. My guess is 2009 for that one. So snow can have an effect that there's a ton of it, but remember, defenders can slip, right? Just as easily as the ball doesn't come out of the hand well, defenders can slip. Big plays can happen. You know, the offensive receiver knows his route, 10 yards, bang on the post, whatever it may be. The defender's just trying to follow him. It's a lot easier for him to slip. So you can have some big plays there. Personally, I would not be betting that game, but I did want to give you the rundown on what was happening there. And, of course, I closed out the important page I had with all of my injury information. So I got to try to find a way to filibuster a few words in here before we get there. 44 points in a Chiefs game. How about that? That doesn't speak very highly to Denver. I would look to the over there, to be honest. I can't believe that's 44. All right, so where are we at? All right, here's some of the big injuries to keep an eye on for today. Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, wide receivers for the New Orleans Saints, both out. Steelers, Titans, I see that in the comment section. That pick is coming up. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. John Brown is out. Dawson Knox is out. I'm just reading from Schefter's tweet. Joe Mixon is out for the Bengals. That's a huge blow. Austin Hooper is out at tight end for the Browns. Desmond Trufant, David Bakhtiari, the offensive lineman, Tyler Eifert, the tight end, Miles Jack, the pass rusher for Jacksonville, Trey Turner, offensive lineman for the Chargers, Sammy Watkins, wide receiver for the Chiefs, Quan Alexander, linebacker for the Niners, Raheem Mostert, running back for the Niners, Jamal Adams, safety for the Seahawks, that terrible Seahawks defense. They're all out. Regarding the COVID situation that moved the Raiders game from the night game to an afternoon game. If you weren't following the story, Trent Brown, offensive lineman, I believe had tested positive. And then when they went through the contact tracing, they had to, quarantine or keep a close eye on all the other Raiders offensive linemen. Raiders offensive linemen were tested throughout the course of the week. They have been given the all clear. All of the Raiders offensive line will play except Trent Brown. That's it. Trent Brown's out. The rest of them can play. Brown's only appeared in 2 games this year. He's played just over 70 snaps. He played a few snaps early and in week 1, I want to say, and then we hadn't seen him until last week against the Chiefs. I see the comment about the Dodgers choking yesterday. Get this. So that was a 4-hour game. That game ended, those 2 errors on the same play that ended the game for the Dodgers. That meant the game went past midnight Eastern time, so it ended on October 25th. October 25th, 34 years to the day, Bill Buckner let the ball go through his legs at first base in Game 6 of the World Series against the Mets. Can you believe it? The Dodgers committed those 2 errors on the same day as Bill Buckner, 34 years ago. I found that interesting. I don't know if anyone else does. Julio Jones will play today against the Lions. Justin Jackson, listed as questionable, Charger running back, expected to play. DeAndre Hopkins expected to play tonight. Jamison Crowder, not expected to play for the Jets. If you're banged up, why would you want to get on the field for the Jets? So those are the injuries. The line moves, key line moves to keep an eye on this week. We'll run through this and then we'll get to our picks. All right, so Cincinnati and Cleveland's been ping-ponging a little bit. The game originally opened with the Browns as a 3.5-point favorite. It did get down to 3 since Cleveland laying 3 on the road, and it is now back up to 3.5. The games I'm not picking, I'll give you my thoughts as we go through this, and then if you miss something, I'll look to the chat and we'll go from there. Chat seems to be flying. Good stuff. All right. So I would play Cleveland in this spot. These two got together on a Thursday night back in, say, week 2, and it looked like a close game. But you have to remember that Cincinnati backdoored it. Joe Burrow, what can you say? Cleveland had a phenomenal game offensively, best offensive game of the season in that matchup. And again, the backdoor scenario. So now we have a situation where Cleveland's going to lay 3.5. They were laying 6 in that. They're laying 3.5 here. No Joe Mixon for Cincinnati. If I'm doing anything in that game, I'm laying it with the Browns. But like I said, didn't make the final cut. Dallas and Washington, we talked about that earlier. Cowboys were a 3-point favorite on the look-ahead line. That is now all the way to Washington -1. No play there. I lean the Washington, but the value's gone. And quite frankly, you bet on bad football teams. Don't get upset if you get a bad outcome. You know what I mean? And I got some bad football teams I'm going to be talking about here that I actually am picking today. So that'll be the rule. No complaining when I come back on the feed for the Sunday night game. Total in that game was 49. It's now down to 44.5. They are not expecting a lot of scoring, which is interesting. If Kyle Allen and Washington can't score in this game, there's no faith going forward. This is the premier defense to score against. No one's given up more points, 36 a game. Game number 3, Detroit and Atlanta. Atlanta, I believe, was a 3-point favorite. No, they were a 1-point favorite on the look-ahead line. This is an interesting game. 1-point favorite on the look-ahead line against Detroit. It went all the way up to Atlanta -3 at one point this week. It's been nothing but Detroit money over the last 24 hours, taking it down to Falcons -1. That game might be coming up in a bit. Saints are laying 6.5 against Carolina. That was 7.5 most of the week. And then the injuries to both Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, plus some sharp money. It feels like the Panthers are going to be, or at least were a popular sharp play. They're going to be a very popular 6-point teaser play, or at least the Saints are going to be a popular 6-point teaser play because you can bring it down to half a point. New Orleans off the bye. I'm not playing this game. I did consider teasing New Orleans. They are not making the Joe Fortenbaugh, what could possibly go wrong, 6-point teaser of the week, which is 5-0. We have that coming up in a bit. I thought about taking the points with the Panthers, but only at 7 or better, so I'm not going to do it at 6.5. I think you could tease the Panthers up to 12.5 and put yourself in a situation where you have a whole lot of points. Total in that game's moved from 51 to 50.5. So not really a play there for me. Lean Panthers, not really a play. Over in this game, Saints-Panthers. If I was going to play the total, I mean, do we expect a lot of points from Seattle or New Orleans, excuse me? Carolina's defense has gotten a little bit better. I have a note here I prepared for all of you because I love you. Carolina's first 2 games of the season, they were giving up about 33 points a game. Last 4 games, 19 points per game. Doesn't mean the defense is getting great, but no Michael Thomas, no Emmanuel Sanders, what appears to be an improving Carolina defense. I don't know. I don't know about scoring a lot of points there. Stay away from me. Buffalo and the Jets. Interesting game. So Buffalo on the look-ahead line was like a 10-point favorite. The Jets stink. Buffalo loses to Kansas City, and that's on a Monday. And this game going up as high as 13. I was on Daily Wager this week, asked about this game. I said I would take the Jets at 13. This is not going to be one of the picks we make later because it's no longer 13. I said I would play him at 13. Everyone thought I was crazy because you're playing the Jets. If I was on the other side of the scenario, I'd be laughing at it too. But hear me out on this. 13 points. Tough spot for the Bills. 2 games in a row they've played on the short week. Remember, they played that Tuesday game against the Titans, and then they had to turn around and play on Monday against Kansas City. Last week they played Monday against Kansas City. Now they got to turn around and get ready for a Thursday road game against the Jets. Also, guess who's on deck? That's right. The Bills are playing the Patriots next week. And if you finally want to get past them to win the division, this looks like it might be the year. So maybe they get caught looking ahead. 13-point spread, backdoor wide open, Jets getting healthier, not all the way healthy, but getting healthier on offense. I lean to the Jets. I do. Everyone laughed. It's down to 10. It's not one of the official picks. And now that it's at 10, I wouldn't play it, but at 13, I did. So as we continue moving on, total in that game moved from 48 to 46, by the way. Houston, Green Bay. Green Bay was a 3-point favorite on the look-ahead line. They're at Houston, excuse me. It got up to Green Bay minus 3.5. It's back down to 3. I'm going to be picking this game in a little bit, so I'm not going to analyze it here. Total was 55.5. It's up to 46. I don't think there are a whole lot of people out there that think this game is going under. I'm not playing the total in this game. You'll notice I'm not playing a lot of totals. Seattle and Arizona's Sunday night game. We will analyze that at the conclusion, right back here on the live stream, at the conclusion of the last afternoon game. San Francisco, New England. So on the look-ahead line, it was Patriots minus 5.5. Then it came back out, Patriots minus 3 after New England lost to Denver and the Niners beat the Rams on Sunday night. Then it got as low as New England minus 1.5. It moved 4 points, and now it's coming back up to New England minus 3, which is where it sits now. Total was at 46. It's down to 45. I'm picking this game, so more on that in a bit. Kansas City, Denver, we talked about the weather. Chiefs were a 9.5-point favorite. It's down to 7. Laying a lot of points on the road, so we can see that as concern number 1, laying a lot of points on the road. Snow could be a concern, or it should be a concern. Total's gone from 49.5 to 44. So the logic here is I get a home team catching a lot of points in a bad weather game against an opponent on a short week. Divisional opponent too. You want those points in the pocket. If Vegas tells you it's going to be low scoring, you have 7.5 in your pocket. Feels pretty good. One in mind. Not picking that game. Just wanted to give you the details. Tampa Bay and Vegas. I would like to go to one of these games at some point, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. Tampa is laying 4. What the heck was this game on the look ahead? Let me bring that up because there's something intriguing about it. Or at least I found it intriguing. Right. This game was a pick'em on the look ahead. Pick'em. For those who don't know, by the way, the look ahead is the point spread that comes out a week before the games. So this is week 7, right? On Tuesday of this week, point spreads came out for week 8. That's the look ahead. You get a look ahead. The point spread disappears on Sunday when all the teams play, and then it resurfaces. It can be valuable to see if there are any crazy over adjustments or games that should be adjustment that aren't. We can use it as a barometer when it comes to pricing. That's why I like to talk about it. That game was a pick'em. Then Tampa goes out and knocks Green Bay from the ranks of the unbeaten. We had that one last week. And the Raiders were on the bye. And this thing moved as high as Tampa minus 5.5 at one point. It's 5.5 last night. There's been some Raider money today. Rain in Washington. Thank you for that tip. Totals are risky now, especially for overs because the market is catching up to these games. Exactly right. Someone who listens. And if someone who doesn't listen, and Aaron Jones, they said they were going to sit him. That's a good note as well. I got to say, I'm pretty proud of the stream today. Usually a cesspool of trolling. Today, nothing but reasonable human beings having a discourse about football and gambling. I think I'm going to cry. It's a beautiful moment. This is a beautiful moment. This stream right here can show the rest of the world how we can come together as a society and get along and share information. Wedding dress in the back. of course, right as I try to get emotional. I've said I share a closet with my wife. Look, we got two options. You either see part of the door and part of her wardrobe, or we bring this thing in so far, you get a ton of my face. I'm guessing you're more comfortable with this option than with the lots of my face option. So let's think about alternatives. All right. So moving along, we talked about the Raider game, Pittsburgh and Tennessee. This game, what was the look ahead? When it came back out on Sunday, Pittsburgh was a damn. All right, so Pittsburgh was a 3-point favorite on the look ahead here. But this game was scheduled for weeks ago. So we're going to throw that number out the window. What we do know is that Pittsburgh came out on Sunday as a 1.5-point favorite for this game. And then it's been a steady deluge of Tennessee money this week, bringing it to Tennessee minus 1.5. Total 52.5 has come down to 51. Could be a high-scoring game today. I told you already. Load the big grilled cheese. You get a big cutout of Low Neal's head, I will put it up there. I'm not going to go do it, but if someone does that and sends it to me, then we'll get Low Neal in there. We'll make sure he's okay with it too. We're not just going to do that randomly. Ravens on deck. Gotta love the Titans here, especially in a teaser. Undefeated though. Tennessee's undefeated. Like with the Ravens on deck, the look ahead could mean something if Pittsburgh was playing the Bengals or the Jets or some no-name inferior team. But you're going against undefeated Tennessee. I don't think it's a look ahead, but that's an excellent point to bring up. Okay, so we also have Chargers, Jaguars. Everyone's playing the Chargers in Survivor this week. 1-win Chargers are the Survivor lock of the week. What does that say about you if you're Jacksonville? That is humiliating. Chargers open 7.5. It's been 7.5 all week. It's a perfect teaser number, to be honest with you. Total has been sitting at 49 all week. I wonder if the number has not moved because just no one's placed a single bet on this game. And then Monday night, Bears, Rams. We're back here tomorrow. For those who are new, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, Monday to cover the Monday Night Football game. And we do that on Thursday as well. 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, Thursdays to cover the Thursday night game. We also throw some college football into that. And if there are other random sports, baseball should be done by then, but random stuff that pops up, we throw it in there as well. All right, that's that. How about some picks? Winter storm warning in Denver. We talked about that. Thank you very much. Jacksonville on the money line. God bless you. Cowboys back in first after today. Does that division matter? I'll put it like this. I talked about this with Matt Jones and Myron Metcalf on game day yesterday with ESPN Radio on Saturdays. If you want to set, because a lot of people think there should be a minimum wins requirement to get to the playoffs, like you should have to be 8-8 to go to the playoffs. If that's what you want to do, I'm cool with it. Just get rid of all the divisions then, right? You can't have divisions and then impose that. So if we're tribal by nature. Human beings are very tribal. We're tribal to our team, which is generally a team from our area, or we root for our team because our parents rooted for it or some story like that, right? Dad was a huge Steelers fan, so you became a huge Steelers fan. If we're going to just go with best records, totally cool with it. Just get rid of the divisions entirely. And that way you're not going to hamstring yourself to having Washington play New York twice. They can all play each other once. You can open the schedule to a little bit more variety. Think that one through. So, something I'm thinking of. All right, 7 picks. Whew, there are going to be some ugly ones here. Let's start with one that's not that ugly. Detroit +1. Damn, this was +1.5 like 20 minutes ago when this stream started. Giving up half a point, but that's all right. We want to keep it accurate. Detroit +1. So, a few things to think about here. This was a great bet earlier in the week. Atlanta was like a 1-point favorite on the look-ahead line. They go out, they beat a really lousy Minnesota team. Detroit beats Jacksonville. And then the line resurfaces as high as Atlanta -3. I think that's a big over-adjustment. Now, the market has since corrected itself and brought it down to Atlanta -1. I don't expect much from Atlanta. And I also think Detroit's a little bit better than expected. Bring up the notes. This game's computer notes. So Minnesota is giving up 32 points per game. Just because Atlanta went up there healthy on offense and scored a bunch of points and won, I don't give them a lot of credit for that. They could have done that all season. They did it in some situations, but they couldn't get stops. They couldn't recover onside kicks. They stink. They have been really bad. They fired Dan Quinn. They come out. They get a nice little pop. They get that win at Minnesota. Now they're coming home. I don't know if they're feeling themselves, but I will say that Detroit has been okay. To quote Teddy KGB, they've been okay. First couple games of the season, they come out, they go 0-2. And in those 2 games, they're giving up 34 points per game. So it's easy at that point in time to just check out on that team. It's Detroit. They're not that exciting. They never really make any noise. They stink to open the season. You think there's going to be a mutiny with Matt Patricia. Ultimately, you step away from it and you're like, whatever. I'm not even going to deal with this game, right? I'm not going to deal with this team. But then quietly over the last 3 weeks, they've gone 2-1. They picked up 5 interceptions because guys have gotten healthy in the secondary, and they're getting up just 24 points a game. So from 34 points a game to 24 points a game. Now, small sample size, right? But they're making some adjustments. They're playing some decent football. And Stafford and the Lions should be able to feast on this terrible Atlanta defense. So now the question is whether or not Matty Ice and the Atlanta offense will get theirs. Probably a high-scoring game. Over sounds like a pretty good play here. It's 55. Huge number. There has been some money on the under. But we're going to play Detroit +1. I like Detroit to win the game. They've been getting better. I think Atlanta had that nice win after Dan Quinn. Everyone's on notice. They're talking about trading Matt Ryan. Is this the last year? Is he going to be a cap casualty? Are they going to trade Julio Jones? Everyone wants to step up and make some noise. Well, they did it against Minnesota. I don't see it happening this week. Detroit +1 is play number 1. Play number 2. The best of this is gone. I wanted the hook. I'm not going to get it, it looks like. So I don't like it as much, but Houston +3. This game stinks. This game absolutely stinks, which is the reason I'm playing it. This line smells bad, smells real bad, to quote Seinfeld. Notes. So many notes. All right. So take me through this one. Green Bay is a 3-point favorite on the look-ahead line. They go out, they lose to Tampa, who's a good football team. Green Bay still 4-1 with Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people think they're a legit Super Bowl contender. I think that's fair. I don't think Green Bay's a great team, but they're a good team, and calling them a Super Bowl contender isn't anything all that odd. Houston has been dreadful. 1-5, fired their head coach, lost to Tennessee last week. There's been no movement with this point spread. None. I find that shocking, and I find it alarming. How? How is there no movement with this spread? If Green Bay is so good and Houston's so bad and you throw it out there at 3, that thing should get bet up at some point. Remember, the public is all over this one. Every guy here in town, I can see the strip from here off in the distance, of course, live in the beautiful town of Henderson. I can see the top of some casinos off in the distance. Everyone's going to play Green Bay today. Yeah, how many people in the public are going to go up and make a bet on Houston? Even Houston fans aren't going to bet Houston today. That's where I like to strike. That's where I think there's opportunity. Ultimately, I'm gonna play Houston. They're bad, right? They're 1-5. Their 5 losses are against teams who are combined 21-7. They've lost to Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Tennessee. Like, they play good teams and then they lose. Green Bay's a good team. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Green Bay's a great team. Defensively, we saw issues last week. They're 20th in scoring defense, 21st in opponent yards per play. They're 30th in takeaways. They only have 3 turnovers this year. They've only forced 3 turnovers, not an opportunistic defense. Maybe last week woke them up a little bit. Maybe they go down and hammer Houston, but I don't see it. Aaron Jones isn't going to be playing for the Packers today. I'm playing Houston +3. This game stinks. I don't want to watch it because it could be 28-0 Green Bay in 10 minutes, but I'm going to bet it. So that's number 2. Number 3, another game where the best of it is gone. If we had done this stream at any point prior to this morning, or at least right in this last hour, we would have been okay. I do see a 2.5 back on the market. I am going to lay the points with New England over San Francisco. So on the look-ahead line, New England was a 5.5-point favorite against the Niners. New England goes out last Sunday and lays an egg against Denver. They look terrible. Meanwhile, the Niners go out on Sunday Night Football, standalone game, nothing else to watch, and they hammer the Rams. And then the look-ahead line comes back, and then the line comes back out, Patriots -3, and gets bet all the way down to Patriots -1.5. I've been playing it all week at numbers less than 3. I'm going to pick it here at 3, but I don't love it as much, obviously, because it's not as great a number as was out there. We do realize 2 weeks ago that the Niners got blown out at home by Miami, right? Like, remember when everyone thought the Niners sucked, and that's why we played them last week, or at least we suggested playing them against the Rams, and no one wanted to do what everyone at the bet the zig and zag, baby. Zig and zag. When everyone's zigging, you zag. And everyone then, Niners come back and hammer them. Now everyone loves the Niners and hates the Patriots. Well, a couple notes on that. Number one, Bill Belichick off a loss in his career as the head coach of the Patriots, 52-27 against the spread. 66%. He's covering the number 66% of the time the week after he loses a game. That's number one. Long travel for the Niners, factor that in at least a little bit. And another note, and this is something that Bay Area people who are fans of the Niners will know and testify to. The correction on the Niners, Pats haven't lost since 2002. I don't know what that means. The Niners struggled to defend mobile quarterbacks, of which Cam Newton is one, right? Go back and look at any game the Niners have played over the last couple of years against Kyler Murray. I think there was a push in one game on the spread last year. There was a Cardinal cover in one, and the Cardinals beat him outright this year as big dogs. Russell Wilson has given the Niner defense problems. Carson Wentz, who's a mobile quarterback, gave them problems. The list goes on and on, right? The list goes on and on. Cam Newton's a mobile quarterback. They haven't thrown well in New England this year, but Cam can move. And while he's not necessarily the mobile scrambling quarterback, like I'm talking about with some of these other guys, a lot of design runs. I don't like the situation for the Niners. I am going to lay it with the Patriots. I don't like it as much as 3. I wish I could just sit here and filibuster this until more 2.5s came out. I see 1, but since that's not readily available, I can't give that to you. So Patriots -3 is pick number 3. Love the Niners. I don't like the adjustment. Patriots were a 5.5-point favorite. They lost to the Broncos. Okay, they look bad. Niners look awful 2 weeks ago. Game number 4 is going to be the Raiders +4 against Tampa Bay. Told you there were going to be some ugly ones today. Everyone is going to bet Tampa Bay after what they saw last week. They hammered Green Bay. And everyone loved Green Bay, then watched them go to Tampa and get hammered. And now everyone assumes Tampa's awesome. Tampa's very good. Just signed Antonio Brown for $2.5 million. But this is a huge adjustment. Huge. It was a pick 'em on the look ahead line. Now it's up to 4. It went as high as 5.5. What I think happened is the COVID scare in the Raider locker room with Trent Brown in the O-line got a lot of people thinking this would be a blowout. This got as high as 5.5. Then it turned out Trent Brown's ruled out for today, but the rest of the guys on the O-line can play. Now, Brown's only played like 75 snaps all season. He played a bunch of snaps against Kansas City 2 weeks ago, and then he played a few snaps in like the first game and got hurt. So, they've been without him. Raider defense they're concerned, but they've had 2 weeks to get ready for this game, and they're suddenly catching 4 against Tampa Bay. And Tampa's off that huge win against Green Bay. This is one of those pros versus Joes type games. I don't know how many pros are going to be on the Raiders, but I know a ton of Joes are going to be on Tampa Bay. That's why I'm going to play the Raiders +4. That is pick number 4. Pick number 5. This would be my favorite one of the week. I'm against the line move here. It's going to be Steelers +1.5 at Tennessee. I do not believe in Tennessee. If you've been watching this stream or listening to me anywhere, I don't like Tennessee. They're good. I don't think they're nearly as great as a lot of people give them credit for. Let's start with this. The Steelers are top 3 in total defense, scoring defense, and opponent yards per play. That's going to be the difference in this game because they can play some good defense. Tennessee can't. They're 26th in total defense, 28th in opponent yards per play. So you better hope Tannehill and the Tennessee offense can play really well. Well, they can. They can. Tannehill's been great, but he's going against that Pittsburgh defense. Meanwhile, Roethlisberger, 70% of his passes, 69 and change. They're a top 10 rushing team as well. They're balanced, really balanced. Offense, balance between pass and run. As a team, balance between offense and defense. I think the Tennessee defense is going to sting in this one. I think that's going to be the difference. And I'm going to throw this at you as well. Tennessee's been living on the edge. I say this every week, and I know I continue to get burned, but 5 games this year, 4 of their wins have come by a grand total of just 12 points. 4 wins separating 12 points between the Titans and a loss. 4. And guess who those games are against? Probably should have had this in front of me. Notes everywhere. Those games are against Houston, Minnesota, Jacksonville, and Denver. 4 teams that are combined 5-18. So they're playing bad teams, and they're beating them by razor-thin margins. They got a shaky defense against those teams, and they're playing the Steelers today. Like I said, I'm on the wrong side of the move, but I love the Steelers here. And if I lose this game, trust me, I'm going to be going nuts. If I lose this game 30-28, getting 1.5, and there's some backdoor Tennessee touchdown like last week that cost us when we took Houston, I'm going to be going nuts on this stream later today. So file that one away. Steelers plus 1.5. So those are 5 picks. The Joe Fortenbaugh, what could possibly go wrong? 6-point teaser of the week. That's 5-0 this season. That's all I'm going to say. No arrogance, no ego. Just letting you know it's 5-0 on the season. Today it's going to be Pittsburgh plus 7.5. So we're taking Pittsburgh plus 1.5, teasing them up to 7.5 against Tennessee. That's one leg. We got to win the other leg as well. It's going to be the Chargers. 7.5, tease down 6 points to minus 1.5. That's the 6-point teaser of the week. Pittsburgh plus 7.5 with the Chargers minus 1.5. What could possibly go wrong with the Chargers coming off the bye, getting all this hype? It's the Jaguars. They've been terrible. I think they've given up 30 plus in 5 straight. Remember when they won that game against Indianapolis in week 1? They've lost all of them ever since. They're going for that number 1 pick. We just all forgot about him and focused on the Jets. Don't be surprised if the Jaguars find a way to Jaguar and get themselves that number 1 pick. So those are 6 plays. To baseball, take out your pitching wedge from 100 yards and nice easy swing, put it up on the green. Dodgers, Rays over 8. If you want a great detailed analysis why, you're not really going to get one. Every game in this series, 4 games so far, has featured 8 or more runs. 4 games in this series are averaging 11 runs per game. When Jags didn't beat Indy, Rivers beat Indy. Yeah, you know what? That's true. Quincy, that's very true. That's a very good point. The Jags technically won that game, yes, but Rivers was awful. I was on the Colts that game. It was my favorite pick of the week. That was terrible. So we've got an average of 11 runs per game in this series. Every game has featured 8 or more runs. Every game has gone over the total. It's going to be Kershaw versus Tyler. One is a lefty. The Rays hit lefties better than they hit righties. And it's a big difference. They're a top 8 team against left-handed pitching. They're a bottom half of Major League Baseball team when it comes to right-handed pitching. Now, people will point out, well, Kershaw was awesome in game 1. He was. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some negative regression there. Just like Tyler Glasnow wasn't good in game 1, there could be some positive regression. But that game went flying over the total. He's better than lefties. They hit righties. They were number 1 in Major League Baseball in home runs, 2nd in OPS, 2nd in WOBA, 2nd in weighted runs created. Of all Major League Baseball against right-handed pitching this year, Glasnow's a righty. So the Dodgers have a favorable matchup with Glasnow. The Rays have a favorable matchup with Kershaw. Every game's gone over. Every game's seen 8 or more runs. The total's 8. The series is averaging 11 runs per game. I'm sure that it's going to be 3-1 and we're going to lose money, but I'm playing the over. I don't see any reason to overthink that series at all. So the official recap: Detroit plus 1 at Atlanta. Houston plus 3 against the Packers. Patriots minus 3 against the Niners. I don't like that one as much anymore. I wish I was getting less than 3. The Raiders plus 4 against the Bucks. The Steelers plus 1.5 against the Titans. The Joe Fortenbaugh, what could possibly go wrong? 6-point teaser of the week. Steelers plus 7.5 with Chargers minus 1.5. And then Major League Baseball, Dodgers, Rays over 8. Thank you for coming. We will be back this afternoon when that last afternoon game goes final, whether it's the Raider game or the Denver game or the Charger game, whatever it may be, whenever it goes final, we're launching. I'll send out a tweet so you can follow the link, or you can subscribe right here. If you do that, I'd appreciate it. It would make life easier. We get to 1,000 subscriptions, I can go back to using the phone and the notepad, and we can get you know what? Help me get to 1,000 subscriptions so you don't have to look at clothing and doors anymore. We can get back to that nice, tightly framed shot I've been giving you for 2 years. But thank you for coming. Honestly, jokes aside, I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. Visit my friends at oddshark.com. There's a toolbar across the top of the page. One of the tabs says Capper's Cup. There's 30 of us who are making 5 picks every week. Our favorite bet is worth 2 points. Everything else is worth 1. John Anik from UFC is in there. I'm in there. Bunch of other people competing against each other. Go check it out. See the standings. Your boy's climbing the boards. I think I'm 7th now after a really lousy start, but that's that. Enjoy the games. I will see you later this afternoon. Thank you for coming.